Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we continue the rating climb of Martin M. Martin on his quest to become an Arena Grandmaster, which requires an ELO of 2000. Now this is our most recent game, which left us with a really nice ladder's mate and an online rating of 1442. So we still have a ways to go, but I believe that Martin will eventually get his Grandmaster title, even if he looks a little bit dubious about it. With that context out of the way, let's get started with game number one. Alright, game number one, we get the white pieces. Oh, and they canceled the game! I will say, this has been a slightly recurring theme. Playing against Martin, who also happens to be 100 ELO higher than you, doesn't give a lot of credibility to this account. But let's move on to game number two. Alright, game number two, we get the black pieces. They have a move on the board, quickly move before they realize that they're playing against Martin, and we have a London system on the board. Okay, this I am more than happy to play against. In fact, I'll play it symmetrically. We can both just play a London system. They can play it with the white pieces, I'll play it with the black pieces. I like to drop the bishop back in hopes that they will trade, I can take back, and then have a really nice semi-open file for that kingside attack. I'll challenge them with the same proposition and see what they do about it. The common responses are, yes, either you place the knight in the middle, you trade, or you drop the bishop back. They decide to place the knight in the middle. I'll play queen to e7. My idea is knight d7, queenside castles, and then I will also instigate a kingside attack. Okay, they take my bishop. I'll go ahead and take back. Now, they have the bishop pair, and I clearly do not, but I did achieve this sort of semi-open file. So, if they castle into it, there are some very real attacking chances on this h2 pawn. But we'll see if they actually lean into that or not. Also, for those of you that saw the first episode, you can see that I've changed the formatting on screen, so the clocks and the names and in turn the ratings of the players are much larger. I do apologize that the quality is very low. Like on my actual screen, it is absolutely teeny tiny. Like I can put my pinky on my screen and it's bigger than our names and ratings. Why is it so small? I have no idea, but I do think it needs to be blown up so you guys can see it, but I do apologize for the slightly lower quality. Now this would be amazing if they just castled directly into this checkmate. I have a funny feeling they won't, and they're trying to deliberate on exactly how to handle it. Now that I like to see, because that means I think they might still castle into it. That's why they're sort of solving the h2 problem. Let's go knight d7, and my idea is if they do castle into it, g5, g4. Oh no, knight d2. Knight d2 is an indicator that they might move the queen and then queenside castle instead. Oh no, we do in fact get the kingside castle. Holy cow. All right, queenside castle, this is like second nature to me. I love playing these kinds of dynamic positions. They've castled kingside, I've castled queenside. The goal is extremely clear. I'm racing down the king side, they're racing down the queen side, and whoever attack is the quickest will probably win the game. Of course, the attack also has to be effective, so you can't just, I don't know, throw a lone pawn, but you can definitely throw a little pawn in there as a grenade. I love this sort of h3 setup to attack into, because it's like a little hook, right? If you have all three pawns directly lined up, you do have these sort of flat weaknesses, which I will try to capitalize on first. But if you do move a pawn out of the way, it kind of creates this little hook, right? I think of it like a hook on g4, and then all I have to do is push a pawn into that hook. Obviously, if they take, I just have mate in one move. If they don't take, I'll take myself and open up the file. Point is, that little hook opens up a world of possibilities for my personal attack. Ooh, pawn g3. I'm definitely taking with my rook, doubling up, and then looking for mating ideas. We do get pawn to b5. I think I can ignore that completely. This is also a common tactic, right? I have a very concrete mating threat on the board, but they're going to try and distract me and attack on this side of the board instead. I'm going to completely ignore that. Why did I say going so weird? I'm going to completely ignore that and look for checkmate on the king side. I want piece movements on this half of the board, and of course they're going to want piece movements on this half of the board, but they're going to have to move on my side because they're going to have to react to my threats. Okay, check here. That's not how the king moves, is it? Check here, check, king goes back. If I take, the bishop takes. That's not really what I want, so I guess en passant, and then I just take on g3. With the queen if they take with the knight, and with, I guess, the rook if they take with anything else. Or I suppose if they take with the rook, I have check and I win the queen. And if they take with the queen, I take with the rook. And the cool thing is, I didn't need to calculate any of this when I was playing g5, g4. I just knew intrinsically that if I brought, or rather from experience, that if I bring enough pieces over, if I have an open file, if I have that little hook to my name, something eventually will develop that will be favorable. And you'll notice how this b5 pawn is still hanging out on b5. I mean, they could maybe take. but then I just have queen g3 and that's checkmate. So yeah, if your opponent tries to distract you from your attack with their own attack, as long as you're confident that you'll be faster, just keep that train moving. All right, they do in fact take with the rook. I'm debating whether or not this works. Check, king e2. No, I'm just going to take my free queen. Let's just go rook to h1. I do not need to overcomplicate this for any reason whatsoever. Now I'm going to play the slightly tricky g6 with the idea of queen to e6, queen to h3. Had I played that right away, there would have been bishop to f5, hits the queen, defends h3, and I definitely didn't want that. Okay, now I will take back. Bishop a6 is check. I'll just move my king up. This should be totally fine for me still, though. Right, I can just shuffle over. And the thing is, they just don't have the manpower to actually, string together a powerful attack. If they do give check, king can run directly into the center of the board and not actually face any repercussions. Right, pawn to e4 will give check. King shuffles over. Does the knight come in or does the queen come in? I think the queen comes in first. Right, king slides up. Now, do I give check this way or check this way? Let me calculate for a moment. I think almost certainly I give check with the queen because it allows rook to h2 in some variations. If the king shuffles over, I think I just take, and then I bring the rook to e8 at the end of all those exchanges. So I'll take here, king has to centralize, and that has to be scary for the enemy king. Check. There's got to be something here, even if I don't see it right away. Yeah, now we have check, grabs the rook for free since the king can't slide back over because we have this wall on the e file, and this should be pretty resignable in just a moment. Right, king slides up, yummy, yum, yum. And we do, in fact, get the resignation. With that, we gain 15 more points of rating. Oh, and the opponent wants a rematch. Don't mind if I do farm 1300 for some elo real quick. They're like, wow, Martin got way stronger since I played him. I remember when he was only 250. I will admit, I do realize that this is effectively just a rating climb, but the sort of gimmick of Martin turning into a Grandmaster in the process of us having a sort of rating climb is maybe way too funny. Like, it's unreasonably funny to me, the little gimmick of we're just doing a rating climb, but in the process, Martin gets a Grandmaster title. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, I believe. Anyways, actual game content commentary. We have a very locked up center, which I quite enjoy. You don't want a loosey-goosey center when you're trying to launch a flank attack, because pieces don't have anything to like jump off of and sort of stabilize through. Knight goes back. I think that's just a blunder. I can take here and I win a piece. If they take my bishop, I take the queen. If they take the knight back, I can simply take the bishop, and we do run away with a free piece. Now, had that not played out, I probably would have played like queen to f3, queenside castle, h4, h5, h6, and there's all sorts of funny ideas. Okay, they want another rematch. How much rating are they going to give me today? All of it. We're going to put our opponent to 0. We're going to gain 1300 points of elo today. That is the new plan. Also, I've just noticed I don't think, or maybe it's because I'm a relatively new account. I was going to say I don't think there's a chat box sort of feature. Let's play e6, and you know what? If they play bishop d3, I might centralize my own knight. c4 is always met directly with c6 to stabilize that center. Okay, they still haven't played bishop d3, which is very amusing. I'll play bishop d6 though. Ah, they learn so fast. Bishop g3, so that if I take, they take back, and it opens up the semi-open file. I have to respect that. That's like one of the best things you can do in chess. If you can learn that quickly what happened to game, you might not make progress in a day, or even 2 days, or even a week. But over time, those sort of changes will amass, and you will definitely become a stronger player. Ooh, queen b3. They're trying to take my pawn. And the problem is, if I play knight d7, obviously I lose it right away. But even if I ignore it, like castle c5, right? If I drop the bishop back, cuts off the queen, I lose the pawn anyways. There's really no discovered attack because the queen is free. All sorts of horrible things are happening to me right now. Can I get away with knight to a6? c5, takes. That looks bad too, to be honest. Uh-oh, I've gotten myself in a pickle. Okay, we'll trade that off. Fair enough. They do in fact take back. I'm gonna play knight to a6 anyways, because I do threaten knight b4, and there's this really nice coordination going on. Which if they don't play c5 or a3 right away, I think I just capitalize on it because of these weakened light squares. Wow, they take on d5. Okay, I'm definitely... Oh, the idea is that when I take back, they're gonna take here and double up my pawns. That's a very nice find. I didn't even consider that, to be honest. Oh, they're mowing the lawn outside. Don't do that. Let the grass grow. Don't make me call on the Lorax. I do apologize if you can hear them mowing the grass outside. Or maybe you can. Maybe the mic doesn't pick that up. Okay, queen to a4. I'm going to castle right away. As much as I would love to queenside castle and pretend like I'm going to launch an attack, that would actually be a death sentence for my king. So I don't believe I'm going to be indulging in any of that. Queen takes. Now, their king is still in the center of the board. And I'd love to see if there's any way I could capitalize on that situation. Right, because if I can keep the king there, I mean, I've lost a lot of material already, but it might not be the end of the world. So let's try and keep him on his toes. Queen b4 looks for b2, weakens the knight. And if the king doesn't castle right away, if they concede the material, then I think they'll still actually be up like a pawn or two, maybe. But if they don't concede the material, if they try to hang on, I don't know. Oh, well, I guess that doesn't work. But maybe queen to a3. No, but then I take and I win a knight. Okay, never mind. I'm not sure how they would hold on to the material. But if they attempt to hold on to the material, my point is I think there'll be some funny business that we can take advantage of. Queen goes back to e2. Now, why can't I take you? Takes, puts you in check. And there's no way for them to stop that check without losing the rook. So I think I can just sacrifice. Sacrifice the rook! Okay, I can make jokes like Gotham. Now I just need subscribers like Gotham. Yes. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay, check. And I think we just pick up this rook, run away with a nice little bit of material advantage. I will say, I think that's a pretty effective way to play chess, is looking for the difference in your position and your opponent's position. So I was castled and my opponent was not. So obviously that means my job as an employee of the board is to take advantage of the fact that my opponent's king is unsafe ASAP before they, castle in one move, which I think we managed to do pretty effectively. Okay, they're taking quite a bit of time on this move. There are only a couple of options, right? Knight d2 loses the rook, queen d2 also loses the rook, and king to f1, king to d1 also lose the rook. There's a common factor here that the rook gets lost no matter what they play, so I'm not 100% sure what they're calculating right now. Okay, I normally cut away the blanks of these videos unless there are moves getting played, so for you guys, about half a second just passed, but for me, I think another minute and a half or 2 minutes passed. They are either going to play the most brilliant move, triple exclam, that you've ever seen in your entire chess career and will ever see again, or I've been left to rot while their time runs out. Let's see which one it may be. Okay, I think it is clear which one was correct. We do in fact win the third game and another 12 points of rating. Let's go to move on to game number 4. All right, game number 4. I just barely misclicked. I was trying to play against a 1470, I want to say, rated opponent, which would have given us, I think, a pretty good match because we would have been evenly paired. But this is a strong opponent as well, 1370. Do I develop my bishop and walk directly into queen b3? I don't think I do. I don't feel like leaning into those complications today. We'll try and boot out this bishop. They insist, so we'll just break the pin. I'll castle my king right away. Eventually, if I do get a kingside attack, I'd feel safer with knight to e4 and then f5, g5 anyways. I used to play the Dutch defense for, I think, a decent couple of years when I was still a youth competing at like nationals and stuff. Pawn takes, we'll go ahead and take back, and I found it very effective. At least at that level, it was I don't know how effective it was. I never like placed top 5 or anything, but I won a decent number of games with these very freaky attacks down the king side of the board. We'll see if it translates over today. Let's drop this knight back and handle this bishop situation. We'll take back with the queen, and then maybe f5 right away, because they can't castle queenside anymore. So unless the king is right, unless the king is taking refuge on e2 or d2, that kingside castle is basically inevitable. I might develop this knight first with the concept of putting this knight on d6. They both look at e4, so we're going to hold that down. I definitely do not want to allow this e4 push. And then also maybe bishop g4. Right, because at the beginning of the game, I mentioned how this bishop was stuck behind the pawn structure. Luckily, with this little trade, which some players find necessary to start and open up the queen side for this like b4, b5 idea, it also releases the goblin from the chambers. So bishop g4, go sick 'em. This bishop has now seen a new light. So I think now we centralize maybe f5. It's a little bit slow, I'll admit. Maybe knight e4 this way. Maybe I don't push f5 at all, because I'm not sure exactly what I gain from f5, except an eventual f4 push, right? And this is the concept that we saw in like one of those earlier games. I'm making movements on this half of the board, and naturally, the opponent is making movements on this half of the board. Now, I always like this side, or rather, I feel very comfortable with this sort of gamble because the kings are on this side of the board. So if they destroy me, if they drop an actual nuke on this side of the board, all they get is a lot of material. If I drop a nuke on this side of the board, the game ends. So I'm feeling pretty good about this already. Now the question is, how do I follow this up? You know what, let's go f5. I don't see them trying to break open the center, so I'm not super concerned about this like potential weakness. We do get b5, does look for this weakness. Should I take this? Takes knight here. Or maybe I just take the knight, right? Because I want queen to h4 looking at f2. So I'll start with that, right? I thought about it. I thought about my own rule, and I'd be engaging on the queen side when I really don't have to. Okay, nice. They do come to the defense of the f2 pawn, but how do I continue this attack? Rook lift? I might just sacrifice everything over here, and it is what it is. If I don't crush them down this side of the board, then I will have lost a whole bunch of material for no reason, but I'm betting, hopefully, that I can make something of this kingside attack. I will admit, this h6 move is now biting me in the butt a little bit, because if g5, g4 was critical and undefended, great. I'm getting my buck's worth for that h6 pawn. But right now, it's kind of just in the way of movements that I want to make. We get knight back to e2, you'd imagine looking for g3. Now, what to do about this? Oh, and I suppose also opening up rook takes c6, which I should probably be concerned about. You know what we could do is just play knight g5, and then we're threatening to take this with check, and unless they play knight g3 and reconnect this, that would look really bad for this king. If they do play knight g3, then maybe f4? Takes. I mean, it looks like I'm doing something there. I take back with the rook. Now I have two eyes on f3, so now if I take, even though the queen looks at the bishop, they have to take with the pawn, which again doesn't look good for the kingside position. They take here with the rook. I also have this capture, but I don't think I really care about that whatsoever. I'm going to take here with check. They do in fact take back. This knight is still free, so maybe knight to f5. Very, very risky business, but I think we have something concrete going here, even if they move the rook over so the king has an escape square. Oh, rook g6? No, I don't think that's how this is going to work. Or maybe do I just play check here? Takes, king takes. Or, wait, I could just play this. Rook over, check here, check, king up, check, and I win material. Okay, that's what we'll do. And the cool thing is, because this center is relatively untouched, I mean, it started to fall apart pretty darn quick. There are no attacks like down the queen side. Oh, rook g2 I didn't think about. I really need this attack to be convincing, so I'm going to bring in my final piece. We really don't have that much material left to go for this attack, but I need every bit that I can get. Let's go here, and then rook g5 is hopefully in time, because it does immediately threaten a check. What is this looking for? I'm not certain. I'm going to play this, right? Even if they do play check, wow, these arrows are... just to be clear, I'm not talking about the arrows on the site. My arrows are horrible. Wow, they came pawn hunting in this position. That is a decision. Okay, let's take on g2. Check. Wait, do they really believe they're not getting mated? This? Oh, because they have check, takes on d5, defends f3. Okay, we'll play this instead. And how do you defend g2? I mean, you can't play rook g1 because queen f3 is still on the board. That's a check. I move up to h7. g3 is not on the board because of the rook. I take on f3, and with that, we do defeat the 1370 rated opponent, but I will admit, that was a very fun game. All right, I'd say let's get at least one more under the belt, certainly, right? At least one more, maybe get ourselves up to 1500. Okay, we do snatch up a 1420 rated opponent. We're getting a very similar opening to the last game. We'll see if they take right away. They don't. So I'm probably going to be, forced to play e6 again. But it's okay. Did we literally just play this? Oh, they take! No, I'm forced to make a responsible decision on move 6 of the game. Okay, so what I think I should play is take with the queen, right? Because then my pawn structure remains very textbook, very intact, very beautiful. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take with this pawn and open up the g file right away. If they castle into that, I have nothing but respect for this opponent. They go for the center break instead. You'd imagine I pin this knight to undermine that e4 support. So they do kind of have to take here. We'll go ahead and take back. If they take here, check. Takes back, queen takes. Oh, queen a4. Knight c6 does defend the bishop, though. Things are happening. Explosive, scary things. I had to drop the bishop off here because there's no way I'm taking back and then having two isolated pawns and doubled pawns. But now that I've taken and the knight is no longer on c3, I can take with the queen. Very, very dubious pawn structure, but certainly lots of fun things are bound to happen in this position. Let's shuffle over to f5. I want this queen to stay nice and... Oh, they castle into it immediately. Rook g8, threatening f3. I have no idea if this is winning, not winning. I'm not sure what's going on anymore. But I'll tell you, it looks like a good time. Okay, queen g4, certainly. Even if g3, I just take the knight, because the pawn would be pinned by the rook. So we've got a knight situation, and we've got a g2 situation. And the knight, in the knight situation, defends the g2 situation. Okay, I believe I can just take. The problem is this is super duper weak. My king is in the center of the board. D5 is an extremely real concrete threat. I'm curious to see if they'll play it. Because if D5 right now I take and the queen is pinned across the board, my queen that is surviving off a pin would be pinning the bishop, so they can't take back. Like I said, weird things are happening. What to do about it though? Maybe bishop d7, we break this pin right away, so if d5, I just drop the knight back. Because I don't know that I can in any good faith queenside castle into this. Right, that doesn't seem like my best idea ever. I'd also love to finish them off on this side of the board as fast as possible, so maybe I just sack the pawn and play rook d8, and I go with a sort of nuclear bunker approach. I just bunk up, and I hope for the best. Let's try that. Queen to h3. If they do take on b7, rook b8, oh, bishop goes back. Oh, they're gonna defend. Okay, queen to f5, eyes on f2 maybe? Oh, or they might just take this long diagonal, which would be very critical. Wait, but I'm up a piece. I can just trade everything off, can't I? Rook b8, force the queen out somehow. Queen a6 I think feels more natural, so they'll probably play that. But queen c7, oh, is an instigating move. And who can resist some good old instigation? Okay, rook c8 will target the queen again. If queen d6, I go for... Oh, I can't go for a queen trade because that would be pinned. Oh, tricky, tricky. Gotta be careful around here. Okay, let's go knight e7. I mean, I'm very much holding on for dear life to any bit of material that I can. Because I have a piece advantage, but I have to keep a piece advantage for all of this to have been worth it. If I could trade queens, that would absolutely flip this entire game around. I'm getting low on time as well. You know what? Maybe h5. Maybe I just ignore this completely. Maybe I challenge them. I say, I dare you to attack me and see what happens. h4, you attack me, I attack you. Eye for an eye. I'll take back. And I have to see checkmate on the board before I can be convinced that the attack was valid. To be fair, we went into this rather risky from the get-go with this recapture on f6. Okay, but now maybe I'll have an open file. Ooh, they take with the f-pawn. This is very precise. But I can take on c5 and force a queen trade. But what they did there was they made sure that the h-file wouldn't open up. Unfortunately, it did walk into that, but I'll admit, I didn't see that until it was on the board either. All right, king d7. I only have a minute 19, so I was gonna say mute up here, as if I were in a Zoom call. I might focus up here for a second until I get this conversion on the board. Okay, I've realized I was way too dramatic. I've actually gained 10 seconds of time. So this should be a pretty straightforward conversion. I'm gonna hunt down these pawns. I have an outside pass pawn of my own. Lots of good things are happening here. Let's go here, target g3. I'll start pushing this pawn. As long as I have eyes on these pawns, it's very hard for him to get out of this. I can just push. If he wants to take, I'll take back. Totally fine with me. Eye for an eye, and I'm more than happy to trade rooks here. Definitely, and they've taken with the pawn now, which means both of these are passed pawns. Passed doubled pawns. Not every day you see that. But with an entire extra piece, this shouldn't be that hard to convert. We now have this check threatened on the board. If they do play king to f4 to sack the pawn to get in with the king, they actually can't because the bishop, he wishes, right? The pawn controls this g5 and e5 square, and then the knight controls f5. So now we push, and now maybe just f6. Slide over again. Why is this complicated? Okay, I'm just gonna slide back and grab this pawn. Let's go here. They advance, which unfortunately does sacrifice the pawn since the knight looks at this, and now we just push. Push, 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 push. King has to go back. We advance our own king. I wonder if I can get a knight checkmate. Is that doing too much? Am I gonna stalemate my opponent and not get to 1500 because I wanted to get a knight stalemate that bad? Or rather, a knight checkmate, oh no. Freudian slip, already getting stalemates. Let's go, oh, but the thing is knights can't buy tempi. So if I play check here, there'd be one tempo off anyways. Okay, whatever, check. Let's just grab our queen and our well-earned rating points. Advance the king. And we do, in fact, get the resignation. With that, we win our 6th game. As soon as I have to count above 3, things start to fall apart very quickly. All right, let's go check on our progress. All right, at the moment, we are rated 1513. Not bad at all. It says we have a 91% win rate and a 90% accuracy. Holy cow. Maybe I need to cosplay as Martin more often. It seems it gives me a tremendous boost in my playing ability. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Also, Martin is undefeated. Martin is 10-0-1 at the moment. Martin has come a long way from being 250. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you guys so much for the support on the first episode. I do personally very much like the gimmick of Martin trying to become a Grandmaster, but it's also a fun way to get normal chess on the channel and just do a sort of normal rating climb. And I'm telling you, one day, Martin will be a Grandmaster from 250 to GM. New title of the series, 250 to Grandmaster. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.